today we're going to be making a sample and then flipping that into like a 90s boom bap type beat. And I'm going to show you a few techniques that I use to chop up samples to get that kind of feel. Let's jump straight into it. Now, the first thing to do for this method is to set your tempo higher than the final beat you want to make. I know that I want my finished beat to be around about 92 BPM, so I'm going to set my tempo here to 110 BPM. Now, this will make a lot of sense later when we're flipping it, as we'll be time warping the sample. Then the other thing that I want to do is pick a scale that's higher, as this is going to be pitched down later on. Now, I know that I usually like to work in around about C to E, so I'm just going to start this one on G sharp minor. And as always, I'm just going to start this melody off with a little bit of piano. As I always find, piano is the easiest thing to work with when you're starting a melody. Copy that over, switch it up here. Keeping it really simple and repetitive, I'm just going to copy that over again, and we'll add a little bit of variation here on the fourth bar. Just randomize the velocities on these. Humanize it slightly as well by maybe 5% or so. Now underneath this, we can add some really simple chords. So I'm just going to start out on the root note like the melody does. Maybe come up to this one. Then instead of coming up to here like normal, I'm just going to bring that down. That's basically just a really simple inversion of the chord. Then on this one here, we can bring it over. We can maybe pull this one down. Bring it back to this chord here. And if we copy that over, we can bring this one down. And then on this one, we'll bring this one up just for some variation. Let's randomize the velocity here as well. Let's copy it over. And then on this one, we'll just add some variation. Could even maybe add some connecting notes in here like this. Randomize these. We'll just copy these over. Could add some bass notes in just to fill out the lower frequency spectrum. Maybe come down to here. Let's copy these over. And on this one, we'll just switch it up. Maybe come up to the B. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Drop the velocity on these slightly. We just randomize them as well. Common theme here, let's just randomize everything and stop it being so static. So we got a really nice start with the piano. Now we're just going to layer that up and make it sound a bit fuller and thicker. So I'm just going to start by taking all the chords. We'll just copy these over onto a new MIDI track. And I'm just going to hit legato here so they all stretch out. And for this sample, I just want to layer it with some strings. So I've come into the Cine Strings Pro from Musio. Let's just go for the ensemble. For this, I've just selected the Sustain Con Sordino. Don't know if I'm saying that right at all. Bring the levels down. Pan this out to the left. Bit of a low cut. Let's filter out a few highs as well. Wash that into the background with a little bit of reverb. And then back on the piano, we can take the low end out of that as well. A little bit of reverb there too. Keep it quite small though. Let's do a low cut on the reverb as well. Then to counterbalance these strings over on the left, we're going to copy them over, put them onto a new MIDI channel, and we'll bring in a pad. For this, I'm going to use a pad from Expand, which is an absolutely goated VST for pads in my opinion. Pull that down, pan it out to the right. Take out any low end rumble. And then once again, I want to add a little bit of reverb. I'm just going to copy the one from here on the strings over to the pad. So it's got the same kind of reverb on it. Bring both of these down a little bit so we can make the piano a little bit more prominent. Let's take these bass notes from the piano and bring them onto a new track as well. I'm just going to back them up with some strings as well out of Musio. I'm going to go for this dark cello, which is my favorite preset here. Pan that slightly right. Bring the volume down. Sounding really nice and full and kind of cinematic. Now, as we're making this sample to flip later on, I know that I like to chop my samples by the quarter note, which means realistically I can fit 16 bars over this push. So maybe we have a section without this in, and then a section with it in. And then on this second section here, we could add in a counter melody as well. So I'm just going to come straight back into Musio. Let's go back into the Cine Strings Pro. Going to add the ensemble again. This time we'll go with a staccato consardino. Once again, probably butchering the name. Just start out on the root note here, and then maybe here at the end of the 2 bars. Just do a run up the tension notes. And we could drop it down to this D. Drop these down here like this maybe. Let's just copy this over. Let's add this extra note in here as well. I think if we maybe start up here and then bring this down so it's kind of descending. So let's randomize these as well, and we'll humanize them as well. Let's pan these slightly to the left. Bring the volume down. Take out any low end. I'm just going to filter the top of these out as well. Now, because we're going to flip this and maybe add some instruments on top later, I don't want to do anything more to the sample here. So I'm just going to convert this down into audio. Now that we have this rendered out, I'm just going to add some effects to make it feel a bit more kind of old and vintage. So the first thing that I'm going to add to this is the Verve Analog Machines. I'm just going to come to the keys presets and I'm going to select piano cassette. Let's just change it to warm. Turn the drive up a little bit. Let's get a little bit of vinyl noise from RC20 as well. Just a little bit. Then I'm just going to use a little bit of 1176 style compression. Bring the output back up. Right click and freeze and flatten this. Okay, so now we've got this rendered out in audio. Here comes the key part of this technique. Let's pitch it down to about 92. As we can see here, it's warped and it's set to complex, which will just slow this melody down. Sounds exactly the same, just slower. So let's bring in a simpler. Let's select slice and we'll go to beat. And instead of having it warped in the simpler, just to slow it down, we'll leave that completely untouched. And we'll control the timing of it with the transpose. So just to show you an example of how this works, we fill out the grid. As this sample was made at 110 BPM, you'll just hear small gaps in the chops. If we turn the transpose up, those gaps will be larger. And as we turn it down, the sample will get slower. Now, the reason why I like doing it this way is you can come up with different patterns that sound different with different timings. So for instance, if I slow this down even further, this gives us a little bit more of a choppy feel. So once I've found a timing that I like with it playing through, -9 I'm thinking at the moment, I can then delete this and we can just play it out on the pads. Now we don't have to play these in order, we can switch it up. I quite like that, so I'm just going to hit Capture MIDI. Let's quantize these to make sure they're all on the grid. As even though we've then got these on the grid, as the timing of the sample is slightly different, should give us that nice kind of choppy feel. Copy this over and switch it up slightly for the second 4 bars. Maybe bring it up to this section. Let's try and do a different pattern. Copy that over to make the full 16 bars here. We'll just join those together. Then for the chorus, we can come into this section which had the added staccatos. maybe something like that. So I'm just going to hit capture MIDI again, quantize all of these. Thinking let's switch this end one from that to maybe this. This one here I prefer actually. Let's switch this one to here. Now that we've changed the pitch, let's take out the low end. As this section here is going to be the chorus section, just going to change the color. And let's just start adding some drums and getting some groove in. Going to go with some like 90s style boom bap drums. I've come into this Sound Oracle pack from Tracklib. Going to select this one here. And maybe layer that sometimes with this one as well. Just quantize these. And I think maybe this one here will layer up. Same with this one here. Sort out the volumes. Kind of vintage sounding hi-hat. Quantize all of those. Then we're just going to grab all of them and humanize them by around 5%. On the hi-hats, I'm just going to bring every second one down. And just copy these all the way across. Randomize them too. In fact, we could randomize the snares by a small amount as well, maybe by 10. Then on the middle hits here, I'm just going to bring those down. Do the same with this one. Bring the hi-hat down. Really nice kind of 90s sounding kick. Wasn't perfect, but we can just quickly fix that. Quantize all the kicks. Now to get that 90s swing, I'm just going to go into the triplet grid. No need that hit here like a double kick. I'm just going to bring that into the triplet. Pull out this one here, as I don't want it to hit at the same time as the snare. I think we could maybe even have an extra hit the snare here as well. Now we've got the basic bounce down, we can add a bit more percussion. So I'm going to pick this acoustic sounding open hat. Let's just place that here. Copy these over. Just going to find a tambourine to layer with the snare. We'll pan this one out over to the right. We'll just place this down on every second snare. Just going to go ahead and place down this Catalyst Crash on the downbeat. I like to use this to kind of transition into different sections. Pan that out over to the right as well. Let's add in some low pitch piano just to get that dark feeling in. Quantize these. Really simple pattern, just to kind of make it feel darker. Bring this up an octave as well. Just a little run here at the end. Bring the volume down and blend that into the overall sound. Take out the sub. As we pitch the original melody down, And all we've added is a low piano. That means there's plenty of space up in the higher frequencies now. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a counter melody, thinking maybe something like a harpsichord, thinking maybe something along the lines of this. Quantize these, just duplicate over this first 4 bars, add some variation here, bring this up another octave as well. We can move these around the stereo image with Shaper Box. Maybe add some chorus to it as well. Obviously, we had quite a few different instruments in the sample, so I don't want to add too many melodic layers. I think all this needs now is a bass line. Now for this, of course, I've come into the Scarby Rickenbacker bass. I'm just going to go for maybe the Raven preset. So I've got an idea in my head here. It goes something like this. Actually came out quite nice, so I'm just going to hit capture MIDI, quantize these. Not sure what happened here, as I don't remember hitting these notes. That actually sounded kind of nice if I take these out. I think we could use that as a variation later on. Maybe pull that one over to here. Pull this one out. Let's just add this in so it's kind of repetitive for the chorus. Drop the volume on that because it's way too loud. There's a preset in here that I like called Bass Finds Its Place. So let's see how these drums sound with the rest of the sample chops. Sounds hard. Okay, so with that, I think I've got enough here to fully structure out this beat. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a structure, give it a quick mix, and then I'll play you out with the final beat. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the cook-up and maybe found some inspiration from it. Let me know what you think of the final beat in the comments down below. Until next time, I've been SK. Peace.